Every year since 2010, the Ballon d'Or has crowned football's king. But what if I told you? The official winners aren't always the real winners. We asked ChatGPT, Grok, Gemini, and DeepSeek to redecide every single Ballon d'Or, and the results rewrite football history. Let's get to it. 2010 is the year everyone agrees FIFA pulled a magic trick. Officially, Lionel Messi won it. But if you actually watched football that year, Wesley Sneijder had the perfect season. Inter Milan won the treble, and Sneijder was the brain of it all. He also dragged the Netherlands to a World Cup final, scoring clutch goals along the way. That's a career year for 99% of players, yet somehow no Ballon d'Or. Messi, of course, he was great, but let's be real. He didn't score in the World Cup. Argentina flopped, and Barcelona got knocked out by Inter, the very team Sneijder was carrying. But apparently, scoring hat-tricks against Almeria in La Liga counted more than dismantling Barcelona in the Champions League semi-final. The irony is painful. ChatGPT, Grok, Gemini, and DeepSeek all agreed that Sneijder was robbed. Grok even called it the biggest theft in football awards history. And when multiple AIs agree on something football-related, you know it's serious. What makes it worse? Sneijder didn't even make the top three. It was Messi, Iniesta, and Xavi. So the guy who won the treble and reached the World Cup final was ignored, but Iniesta scored one World Cup winning goal and jumped ahead. Make it make sense. If you want to know how unfair 2010 was, here's the stat. Sneijder finished that season with more assists than Messi and Ronaldo combined in Europe's knockout games, yet he went home empty-handed. That's why the AI verdict is unanimous. Sneijder is the real winner of the 2010 Ballon d'Or. 2011 is when the argument stopped. Messi wasn't just good, he was untouchable. Barcelona absolutely dominated Europe, and the Champions League final against Manchester United at Wembley is still talked about today. Messi didn't just score, he destroyed Ferguson's side with his movement, dribbling, and that famous long-range goal. Xavi and Iniesta were in the conversation, sure. Ronaldo had another insane scoring year at Madrid, but this was peak Messi. He scored 53 goals, 24 assists, and carried Barcelona through every big stage. And the way he played wasn't just numbers, it was pure chaos for defenders. They literally didn't know whether to foul him or pray. So there's no debate here. ChatGPT, Grok, Gemini, and DeepSeek all agreed on Messi. There's no alternate reality where Sneijder-style robbery happens here. He was clearly the best. What made this year special was the eye test. Watching Messi was like watching a cheat code. Remember the semi-final goal against Madrid at the Bernabeu, where he dribbled through half their defense and finished? That clip alone was worth a Ballon d'Or. So 2011 stays as is. Messi deserved it. Messi won it. No robbery this time. Now we move to 2012, and this one's historic. Messi scored 91 goals in a calendar year. 91. That's not football. That's speedrunning FIFA career mode on amateur difficulty. Nobody had ever done it before, and it might never be repeated. Of course, Ronaldo was insane too. He hit 63 goals and carried Madrid to a record-breaking La Liga title with 100 points. Iniesta won Euro 2012 with Spain, being named the best player of the tournament. Both were valid contenders, but 91 goals is basically trump card. You can't beat that. All four AIs came to the same conclusion. This was Messi's year, hands down. Think about it. Messi scored in La Liga, Copa del Rey, Champions League, Super Cup, literally everywhere. He broke Gerd Muller's long-standing record for goals in a year, and he did it while still providing assists. It wasn't selfish stat padding, it was domination, the funniest part. Even with 91 goals, Barcelona didn't win the Champions League or the league that year. That shows you how insane football had become. I mean, Messi was making history and still, trophies slipped away. But individually, it was no contest. 2012 was Messi's Ballon d'Or, officially and in the AI verdict. 2013 is where it gets spicy again. Officially, Cristiano Ronaldo won it. But if you look back, Frank Ribéry had the better case here. Bayern Munich won the treble, and Ribéry was their most decisive attacker. He wasn't just putting up stats, he was the spark that made that Bayern team terrifying. Ronaldo had the numbers, no doubt. 55 goals, countless highlights, and the infamous Portugal playoff hat-trick against Sweden that many say swung the votes his way. But the truth is, he didn't win a single major trophy that year. Zero. And in a Ballon d'Or race, that should matter. Ribéry was everywhere. Assists, goals, link up with Robin, terrorizing defenses with haste. He finished third in the votes behind Messi and Ronaldo, but realistically, he should have been first. It's one of those classic journalists sipping wine in Zurich decisions where the star name beat the actual performer. Every AI agreed on this robbery. ChatGPT, Grok, Gemini, and DeepSeek all backed Ribéry. So the alternate Ballon d'Or winner in 2013 is Frank Ribéry. And if you disagree, just rewatch the Champions League final against Dortmund. He didn't score, but his fingerprints were all over Bayern's dominance that season. 2014 was one of the most controversial years. Officially, Ronaldo picked up another Ballon d'Or. He had the stats, 61 goals, Champions League top scorer, La Decima with Real Madrid. Hard to argue against, but then came Manuel Neuer. Neuer won the World Cup with Germany and basically reinvented goalkeeping. He wasn't just making saves, he was playing as a sweeper, rushing out 30 yards to intercept balls like he was Beckenbauer. The world had never seen a keeper that dominant with his feet and hands combined. Now here's the problem, goalkeepers almost never win the Ballon d'Or. The last was Lev Yashin in 1963, and FIFA wasn't ready to break that tradition. So they went safe with Ronaldo, but ask any AI, ChatGPT, Gemini, and DeepSeek all sided with Neuer. Grok wavered with Ronaldo because of the Champions League, but the consensus still leaned toward Neuer. The World Cup was the biggest tournament that year, and Neuer was the face of it. His performance against Algeria alone was basically a viral highlight reel. The guy made goalkeeping cool again, and that deserves a Ballon d'Or. 2015 is back to being clear-cut. Barcelona won the treble again, and Messi was the leader of that MSN trio with Neymar and Suarez. That season produced one of his most iconic highlights, the Copa del Rey final against Athletic Bilbao, where he dribbled past half the team from the halfway line and scored. Ronaldo scored more goals that year, Neymar was brilliant too, but Messi had the impact in the biggest games. He ran the Champions League semi-finals against Bayern, including that famous Jerome Boateng ankle-breaker goal. That one clip still gets reposted today. Gemini, DeepSeek, ChatGPT, and Grok all agreed Messi was the right choice. Nobody else matched his combination of stats, trophies, and influence. It was a Messi year, no doubt. What makes this year fun to revisit is how good MSN was as a front three. They scored 122 goals combined in all competitions. But even in that firepower, Messi stood out as the conductor. He was the one dictating the play, not just finishing chances. So no controversy here. Messi got it officially, and the AI verdict matches perfectly. 2016 is Cristiano Ronaldo's redemption arc. Real Madrid won the Champions League, with Ronaldo scoring 16 goals in the competition, including the decisive penalty in the final against Atletico. But the crown jewel was Euro 2016, where Portugal shocked everyone and lifted the trophy. Sure, Ronaldo didn't play the full final against France because he went off injured, but his presence on the sidelines, coaching like a madman, became iconic. And his performances leading up to the final were clutch, including that brace against Hungary and the header against Wales. Griezmann had a strong case. He was the Euro 2016 top scorer and best player, reaching both the Champions League and Euro final. Messi was Messi, still putting up huge numbers at Barcelona, but Ronaldo had the trophies, and in football, that tips the scales. The AI verdict, unanimous Ronaldo. Grok, Gemini, DeepSeek, and ChatGPT all agreed. This was his year, and it was deserved. The funniest part is how people remember Euro 2016. Not for Portugal's defensive style, but for Ronaldo crying, then coming back to coach like he was the manager. That image alone probably sealed the votes. I know you've got an opinion already. Don't just yell at the screen, put it in the comments. And while you're at it, subscribe so you don't miss the next story. 2017 is where the debate reignited. Officially, Ronaldo won again. He had 42 goals, another Champions League, and he was decisive in the knockout rounds, scoring hat-tricks against Bayern and Atletico. On paper, it looks like an open and shut case. But here's where the AI analysis splits. Messi actually had a better individual season. He scored 54 goals, carried Barcelona to a Copa del Rey win, and produced arguably his greatest Clásico moment at the Bernabeu, with the last-minute winner holding up his shirt to the Madrid crowd. That single image became legendary. Ronaldo's big advantage was timing. Most of his big goals came late in the season, right before voting. Messi's brilliance was spread out, consistent, but less headline-grabbing, and voters love recency bias. All 4 AIs reviewed this year, and ChatGPT, Gemini, and DeepSeek gave it to Messi. Grok stuck with Ronaldo, pointing to the Champions League factor, but the consensus leaned toward Messi. The logic? If this award was about who played the best football in 2017, it wasn't even close. 2018 was the year the Ballon d'Or finally remembered that midfielders exist. Luka Modrić was not scoring 50 goals or putting up highlight reels, but he controlled every game he touched. He was the heartbeat of Real Madrid's Champions League three-peat and the man who dragged Croatia all the way to a World Cup final. Every pass, every touch, he dictated tempo like a conductor. Now, his rivals weren't lightweights. Cristiano Ronaldo was still banging in goals for fun. Griezmann had a Europa League title and a World Cup medal, and Salah had just finished one of the most electric Premier League seasons ever. On paper, each had a claim, but none had the complete story Modrić carried in 2018. Even the other AIs agreed here. Grok, Gemini, DeepSeek, and ChatGPT all put Modrić as the rightful winner. The stats didn't scream Ballon d'Or. The impact was clear. He redefined what dominance looked like without being on the score sheet. And you have to admit, it was refreshing. For once, the award wasn't just about who scored more. It was about control, leadership, and carrying a nation of 4 million people to a World Cup final against France. That's an achievement goals alone can't measure. So, yeah, Modrić didn't just win. He earned the respect of the football world, and for that year at least, the Ballon d'Or made sense. 2019 was one of the toughest debates. Officially, Messi picked up his 6th Ballon d'Or after scoring over 50 goals and winning La Liga. But then there was Virgil van Dijk, the wall of Anfield, who made defending look like an art form. Liverpool lifted the Champions League, went on a 44-match unbeaten Premier League run, and Van Dijk didn't get dribbled past for almost the entire year. In an era of Neymar, Mbappe, Hazard, Messi, not a single one got through. That's absurd. Messi, of course, had his moment too. He carried Barcelona, scored in ridiculous fashion, but then there's that Anfield semi-final. The 4-0 comeback still haunts Barcelona fans. That was Van Dijk's team standing tall while Messi disappeared in the second leg. The AI split came in, but 3 out of 4 leaned toward Van Dijk. Grok hesitated. Gemini said Van Dijk, DeepSeek, and ChatGPT agreed. Messi was amazing, but Van Dijk changed how we think about defenders. So while the trophy went to Messi, the argument still feels unfinished. Many believe that year belonged to Van Dijk, and honestly, it's hard to argue otherwise. 2020, the cursed year. France football decided to cancel the Ballon d'Or because of circumstances, which basically meant Lewandowski got robbed. Bayern Munich won the treble, and Lewa scored 56 goals. He wasn't just scoring, he was dismantling teams for fun. In the Champions League, he was unstoppable. He scored 15 goals in just 10 matches. Bayern steamrolled Barcelona 8-2, and Lewa scored in nearly every game. He was the clear best striker America alive, no debates. Every AI agreed that Robert Lewandowski was the deserved winner. Cancelling the award was like cancelling Christmas when Santa was already at your doorstep. Everyone knew who the winner was. The man literally had a perfect season. Top scorer in Bundesliga, top scorer in the Champions League, and part of one of the most dominant club sides ever. No Messi, no Ronaldo, no debates. This was Lewandowski's year. And yet, the official record books show a blank. Football fans will never forgive France football for that. Lewa won everything but the actual Ballon d'Or trophy. 2021 brought the big Messi-Lewa clash. Officially, Messi won his 7th Ballon d'Or after finally lifting the Copa America with Argentina. For his fans, that was the holy grail, the moment he silenced doubters about his international career. But Lewandowski wasn't quiet. He broke Gerd Müller's Bundesliga record with 41 goals in a single league season. Think about that. A record that stood for 49 years, shattered. Messi had magic moments, yes, but his club season with Barcelona was weak by his standards. Barcelona weren't a threat in Europe, while Lewa was carrying Bayern and still scoring goals at an impossible rate. The AI split again, but this time 3 out of 4 said Lewandowski should have won. Grok was the only one who sided with Messi, saying the Copa America was too big a narrative. And really, if 2020 was stolen from him, 2021 was his chance at redemption. Instead, Messi walked away with the trophy, and Lewa walked away with just the applause. 2022 had no debates, no controversy, just Karim Benzema's year. Real Madrid pulled off one of the most dramatic Champions League campaigns ever, and Benzema was at the center of it all. Hat tricks against PSG and Chelsea, clutch goals everywhere. He turned big nights into his personal playground. Real Madrid also dominated La Liga, and Benzema was their leader on and off the pitch. The AI verdict? Unanimous. Grok, Gemini, DeepSeek, and ChatGPT all agreed Benzema was untouchable this year. His performances weren't just good, they were legendary. The numbers back it up too. He finished with 44 goals in all competitions, most of them coming in the biggest matches. When Madrid were on the ropes, Benzema stepped up. This wasn't just a Ballon d'Or win, it was a coronation of a player who had waited his entire career for the spotlight. No arguments, no doubts, just pure recognition. Now, 2023 brought back the chaos. Messi had finally won the World Cup, the one missing piece of his career. For many, that alone was enough to hand him his 8th Ballon d'Or. Argentina's triumph in Qatar was his crowning moment. But Erling Haaland wasn't just hanging around. In his first season at Manchester City, he scored 52 goals, broke the Premier League scoring record, and won the treble all in one go. Messi had the ultimate narrative. Haaland had the ultimate stats. So who do you pick? The AI split 3-1 in favor of Messi. ChatGPT, Grok, and Gemini sided with Messi's World Cup glory, while DeepSeek leaned toward Haaland for his freakish goal tally. The thing is, Messi didn't just win the World Cup, he owned it. He scored in every knockout round, lifted the trophy, and cemented his place in history. It was like destiny. So while Haaland's numbers were absurd, Messi had the fairy tale ending. And football loves stories more than stats. 2024 was tricky because both Vinicius Jr. and Rodri had serious claims. Officially, Rodri won it, thanks to his Euro 2024 heroics and his consistency at Manchester City. But was he really the standout? Vinicius Jr. was on another level at Real Madrid. He was their main man, destroying defenses in the Champions League and La Liga, leading them to titles. His dribbling, his goals, and his big game moments looked unstoppable. Rodri was brilliant too, the most reliable midfielder in the world, winning Euros with Spain and another strong season with City. But if we're talking impact and highlights, Vinicius had more moments that defined 2024. Among the AIs, the majority leaned toward Vinicius. Grok, Gemini, and ChatGPT agree that Vinicius Jr. should have won. DeepSeek stood by Rodri, valuing his all-around dominance in midfield. Still, the split shows how tough this year was to call. But let's be real, when Vinicius was cooking defenders, it felt like watching street football at the highest level. He made it entertaining, and he made it decisive. That's why most AIs gave him the crown. And then we arrive at 2025, the year of Ousmane Dembélé, Lamine Yamal, and Desire Dou. Officially, the winner is yet to be determined, but the AI consensus already has Dembélé as the man. Why? Paris Saint-Germain's treble. He led them to 5 trophies in the calendar year, rediscovering the talent people had almost written off. For years, Dembélé was the meme, injury-prone, inconsistent, always the next big thing. And now, he's the guy lifting PSG to the top of Europe, playing every game, producing goals and assists, and finally fulfilling his potential. His rivals weren't weak either. Lamine Yamal is breaking records at Barcelona, Bellingham is running Real Madrid's midfield, and Mbappe is, well, Mbappe. But none has the all-round story that Dembélé carries in 2025. The AI winner here is Dembélé. And honestly, if this really happens, the internet might break. Imagine telling someone in 2019 that Dembélé would win the Ballon d'Or in 2025. They'd laugh you out of the room, but here we are. So there you have it. Do you trust AI's verdict, or do you stand by the official history? Drop your pick in the comments, because this debate is far from over.